brand new polling, which shows overwhelming support for the DOGE cuts. When asked if the U.S. federal government debt is unsustainable, 67% say, heck yeah, it is. It's unsustainable. 33%, nah, man, we got this. But when asked if DOGE is helping make major cuts in government expenditures, 60% say, heck yeah, it's helping. 40% say, no, it's not helping. And finally, when asked if DOGE should have access to the sensitive data, remember that one? 58% say, heck yeah, give them the access, compared to 42% who say, no, don't give them the access. Should U.S. reduce debt by increasing taxes or reducing government expenditures? Simple question, right? Take a look at what Democrats had to say. Reduce government expenditures. 72% of Democrats say, heck yeah. No surprise, 94% of the GOP said that as well.
What that survey shows is every household has to make cuts at varying points, in the arc of its lifetime. Every business has to make cuts. So Americans understand this. So for the Democratic Party to always say, just raise taxes is crazy. And it's one of the reasons we find ourselves where we are in the minority.
So this, of course, comes as no surprise to you and me. But this poll from left-leaning Harvard, by the way, shows that, yes, even the vast majority of Democrats approve of cutting wasteful spending in the government. And the majority of Americans, of course, approve of DOGE and Elon Musk doing the job that they're doing, appointed by Donald Trump, right? So all of this falls in line with what we've been saying and what we've been seeing. But the Democrats are setting themselves up to be the losers in this argument. They're going against the will of the American people, as we've been saying on this channel for weeks now. So all of the pundits, all of the elected officials are on the wrong side of this issue, which of course is what the Democrats always are. It's just that now the majority of Americans actually see it. But of course, they're not going to get a clue to this, and I hope they never do. So let's go ahead and check out Scott Jennings totally raking them over the coals on this very same issue. But before we get to these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
So Scott, is the Trump administration at risk of overstepping with these efforts?
Well, I don't think they're at risk of overstepping with the American people. I think part of the election result was the American people actually asking for a sledgehammer to the federal government. I mean, trust in government was low, dissatisfaction with the government was low, dissatisfaction with the previous administration was low, and dissatisfaction was high with politicians who for years have said, I'm going to cut waste, fraud, and abuse, and never seem to do it. So I like Representative Maliatokas, but with all due respect, I don't think the voters are wanting a scalpel. I do think they're wanting larger implements like a sledgehammer or a chainsaw.
I think that's no longer true. I think that's no longer true, Scott.
Lulu,
honestly, you're seeing the polling and you're seeing how unpopular.
And Donald Trump has a better than 50% approval rating. And I have seen the polling.
How unpopular Elon Musk is, how unpopular DOGE is, and beyond that, there is a real concern about the kinds of
You know what I love about you, Lulu, is that you get to say what you want to say, and then you got to say what you think I ought to say. Why don't you just let me finish my point here? The point, Wolf, is this. The American people asked for a different direction, and what they did not ask for was a continuation of the status quo. What I think Musk and his efforts represent is a complete deviation from what most people would say has been the status quo when it comes to a government that seems to always get bigger, and we never really go in and root out waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, are they going to make some mistakes? Sure. Are they going to have to recover those mistakes? They've already done that, and they admitted it when they've done it. But I think overall they have a lot of political leash because the American people were so dissatisfied with the way government was being run before. So I think the politics of this is still a net positive for Trump. How can you say they
admitted it? They quietly took it down off their website. I mean, this is the thing. There's no transparency in any of this. There is nothing that either Congress, the people that have oversight of the power of the purse, are able to see this. Journalists themselves who are actually tasked with trying to go through this and trying to figure it out so that they can inform the American people. There is no transparency with this, even to the point of who is in charge of this organization.
We now know who technically is in charge of DOGE. Everybody stand by. I want to bring in Alencia Johnson. Alencia, the White House says Elon Musk will attend President Trump's first official cabinet meeting tomorrow. Normally, cabinet secretaries are in attendance. Musk hasn't been elected or confirmed to any position. So what do you make of this?
I'm concerned for the American people, but I'm also concerned for our national security to have this unelected, unconfirmed person in all of these top
I'm sorry, can
meetings.
I ask a question? Did Joe Biden have staff at the White House? And how many of those staff members were elected?
Well, but Scott, Elon
Zero.
Musk
The answer is
has
zero.
a position
Every
that's bigger
president
than
appoints
staff.
people
This
to
is
do
different
things
than
for
a
them.
chief of
To
staff.
call him
This is
unelected is
different
like the
than
most
someone who
naive and
has
ridiculous talking
background
point
in
I've ever
federal
heard.
government. Scott, I can't believe you would believe something like this, because if this was Joe Biden allowing for a billionaire
Allowing
helped
people
get
who
him
weren't elected to run the country
in
for the
White
last
House,
4 years,
you
yeah, I would
all
believe that,
be
actually.
throwing another coup like January 6th.
I would believe it if Joe Biden had unelected people running the government for the last year, maybe the last 4 years. Yeah, I believe every word of it.
You wouldn't be up in arms, Scott.
I was up in arms about it.
I think there's a
Republican
difference if it was
members would be
George
up in arms.
Soros. I think that the example is not, obviously everyone has unelected people in that they appoint. The difference is if it was George Soros, who was
George
going
Soros
on,
does have influence over Democrats. He collects your people like
He's not in
Pokemon
cabinet.
cards.
Scott Jennings is in rare form right there, right? Pointing out the blatant lies and hypocrisy of the Democrat talking points. First up of which is the fact that, oh, Donald Trump supposedly isn't popular, right? Elon Musk and DOGE aren't what the American people want. Well, as we saw in our first segment, that's not the case, right? Polling shows otherwise, okay? And I think that he actually does have a mandate to go in there with a chainsaw and cut things out, because for decades, we've been given the runaround and the government just keeps getting bigger. The deficits keep exploding. The budgets swell, okay? And we're sick and tired of it. And now, of course, it's being revealed all of our tax dollars are being completely wasted on DEI nonsense around the world. And so we're fed up with it. We're done. We want it out. And then, of course, we have the feigned outrage that Elon Musk is in the cabinet meeting. Yeah. How many appointees are in these cabinet meetings? How many personal assistants and secretaries are in these cabinet meetings? And the answer to that is quite a lot, okay? It's not just the people approved by Congress through advising consent, okay? This is not happening. But of course, Scott Jennings is quick to point that out as well. And lastly, oh, Elon Musk is a billionaire, right? And he's got undue influence over Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Yeah, George Soros, you Republicans, you would hate it if George Soros was in there. And I say, yeah, I probably wouldn't like that very much, but would I be surprised? No, the man bankrolls everyone who is in those cabinet meetings. So he has a huge undue influence. And that line at the end that George Soros collects Democrats like Pokemon cards, that's just gold. And of course, very descriptive, right? And seeing Scott Jennings just throw all of this back in the faces of these Democrats is just beautiful to watch, okay? They have outrage that Donald Trump won. They have outrage that the American people approve of the job Donald Trump is doing. They have outrage that Donald Trump is being effective, that he's off to a running start and has been doing so much, and I hope it continues. And I also hope, as I always say, that the Democrats never catch on. They never clue in to the simple fact of why they lost, which is they're going against the will of the American people. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me.